How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my Week 12 prediction show. A little bit different tonight. I am feeling kind of under the weather, so this should be a lot shorter than normal. I'm going to try to get through these as quick as I can. Try not to ramble as much as I normally do. So let's get right into it. My prediction record for last week was 11-4, which brings my overall record to 108-55. We have 4 teams on a bye this week heading into Week 12. The Broncos, the Bolts, the Finns, and the Commies. Broncos, big win over the Chiefs this weekend. The Bolts, big, tough loss to the Jags. The Finns and Commies, boring game nonetheless over in Madrid. Both of those teams desperately need a bye. But the Finns looking a lot better. They've won 3 of the last 4, and the Commies are collapsing. So they really need the bye. Let's get right into it. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, the Buffalo Bills will take on the Houston Texans. The Bills coming off a pretty big win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday in what was pretty much a back-and-forth battle. Josh Allen, 19 of 30, 317 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was not sacked at all, and also had 3 rushing touchdowns, 40 yards on the ground for him. Josh Allen, this is his 3rd game with 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns. He's the first QB to do it since 1954 when the great Otto Graham did it. So congratulations, Josh Allen, the reigning MVP, just doing MVP stuff. So good for him. James Cook, 16 attempts on the ground, 48 yards. Not his best. Cook also had a receiving touchdown. Shavers, 4 receptions, 90 yards and a tutty. Johnson also having a receiving touchdown. Defensively, an interception for the Bills. I don't believe they sacked Baker at all. 7 penalties in total for the Bills, but that only amounted to 45 yards in penalties. The Bills, this is a big win for Buffalo. Increases my confidence in this team. So I think this is a good game, good step for Buffalo to put them back in the thought of top contenders in the AFC. They'll be taking on the Houston Texans, who are coming off a close victory over their division rival Titans, 16-13. The Texans without C.J. Stroud again. Mills, he was 26 of 41, 274 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 4 times. This team was shut out in the first half, so not great. Mills will start again on tomorrow night. C.J. Stroud still in concussion protocol. Marks, he led the team on the ground for 18 attempts, 44 yards. Nico Collins, 9 receptions, 92 yards and a touchdown. 3 sacks for this team, and 1 forced fumble. 4 of 13 on 3rd down. That's not good. That's not going to produce points, at all. And 0 for 1 on 4th. I think this is a pretty easy pick for me. I think the Bills, coming off the momentum of this big win over a big contender in the NFC. Big win for Buffalo. Going into Houston. Houston will be wearing their battle red unis, which is pretty cool. But I'm taking the Bills. I think this Houston defense is going to play very well against the Bills. I don't think Josh Allen is going to go off. I don't think James Cook will go off, but I could be wrong. I'm going to take the Bills here. I think the Texans, even with C.J. Stroud, I don't think the Texans win this game. But I'm going to roll with Buffalo to get a big win tomorrow night. Then we'll start with our Sunday slate. We have the Jets taking on the Ravens. Jets coming off a Thursday night loss to their division rival Patriots. Justin Fields, 15 of 26, 116 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble, sacked twice. Fields led the team In rushing yards, 11 attempts, 67 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Breece Hall contributed 58 yards on the ground. Mechie, he led the team in receiving yards, 45 receiving yards and a touchdown. 8 of 14 on third, so not bad. 0 of 1 on fourth, so that's not great, but oh well. 7 penalties for the Jets team, so kind of showing a little bit of issues there. It was announced this week. Aaron Glenn did come out and announce that Tyrod Taylor would be making the start on Sunday, so Justin Fields benched again. This is the second time now. The only reason he was back in is because Tyrod Taylor got hurt. But it does seem like Tyrod Taylor will take the reins on Sunday. They'll be going up against a Ravens team where it's coming off their 4th straight victory. So the Ravens heating up. Ravens getting a close victory over the division rival Browns. Lamar Jackson, 14 of 25, 193 yards. No touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. So that's concerning with the O-line. Granting, but I will grant that Myles Garrett did have 4 of those 5 sacks. So I can't really fault the Ravens O-line too much. King Henry, 18 attempts for 103 yards and a touchdown. Mark Andrews contributing 35 yards on the ground. 1 attempt, 35 yards, and a touchdown. It was on late in the fourth quarter. On a 4th and inches, Mark Andrews getting a direct snap and taking it up the field for a touchdown. Zay Flowers, 3 receptions, 78 yards. Wiggins had an interception. Ravens as a team getting 3 sacks. On the Browns, Dylan Gabriel was knocked out of that game with a concussion. So we got to see Shedeur Sanders for the first time. We'll get into the Browns a little bit later. But that is the Ravens' now 3rd straight win over the Brownies. This game is kind of an easy pick for me. I do think the Ravens are riding high right now and the Jets are going down. I think this should be a pretty easy win for the Ravens. I do expect Lamar Jackson to play better, and I do expect King Henry to go off. So it will be the Ravens for me against the Jets. All right, then we got the Steelers taking on the Bears. The Steelers coming off a pretty good victory over the Bengals. Aaron Rodgers, 9 of 15, 110 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked once. He did leave the game at one point with a left wrist injury. They are saying right now that he is going to avoid surgery, which is good. Could be a slight fracture in his left wrist. It's not Aaron's throwing hand, but still causes issues. He would like to he didn't practice today, but he'd like to get to practice tomorrow, so we'll see if he will take on his old nemesis, the Bears. In that game against the Bengals, Mason Rudolph did come in. He was 12 of 16, 127 yards and a touchdown. Warren, 10 attempts, 62 yards on the ground. Gainwell, 7 receptions, 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Duggar had a pick 6. And Pierce had a fumble receiving touchdown, so 2 defensive touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they're going to be taking on a red-hot Bears team. Bears coming off a game-winning field goal against their division rival Vikings. Caleb Williams continuing to get it done, especially in the fourth quarter. But this time, the Bears really didn't have to overcome too much in the fourth quarter. They were leading most of this game. They almost blew it. Caleb Williams, 16 of 32, no interceptions, no touchdown passes. Sacked twice, he threw for 193 yards. Swift led the team in rushing yards, 21 attempts, 90 yards. Managi, he had a rushing touchdown. Cole Kmet, 5 receptions, 45 yards. The team did get 2 interceptions on defense. Late in the fourth quarter, a really good kick return set them up for pretty much the game-winning field goal. Of course, they had to gain some more yards, but I mean, it was kind of easy for them. And now the Chicago Bears are first in the NFC North. Did not think I'd be saying that at all this year. The Bears have the top three players in interceptions in the league. Three of them, the top three, are all Bears. Kevin Byard, he leads the league with 5. Tremaine Edwards, he's tied for second at 4. And Nashawn Wright, he also has 4. So the Bears getting turnovers and doing what they need to do to be able to win these football games. I'm going to go with the Bears here. And that's not because that has anything to do with Aaron. I think if Aaron plays, the Steelers do have a better chance. But I don't think it has anything to do with that, with the offense of the Steelers. I don't trust that Steelers defense, especially their secondary, against this Bears team. Caleb Williams can sling it, but I just don't think that the Steelers secondary could do it. So I'm gonna go with the Bears here. I think the Steelers could win, but just because of that secondary alone, I'm gonna go with the Bears. All right, then we have the Pats and the Bengals. The Pats, big victory on Thursday night over the Jets. 8th straight win for the Patriots. So congratulations. Definitely one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Drake May, 25 of 34, 281 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked once. Henderson, 14 attempts, 62 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He also had 5 receptions for 31 yards and a receiving touchdown. So Henderson, 3 total touchdowns in this game. Stephon Diggs, 9 receptions for 105 yards. Also, congratulations, Stephon Diggs. He just had a baby. So, congratulations. No booty for the Patriots. Seemed to be no problem. Only 2 penalties on the night. That was huge. The Pats defense played very, very well against a struggling Jets team. And the Patriots, they will be going up against the Bengals, who are coming off a loss to the Steelers. Joe Flacco, 23 of 40, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked only once. Chase Brown, 18 attempts for 99 yards on the ground. Higgins, he led the team in receiving yards, 3 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 3 receptions on 10 targets. So that's not great. Also, Jamar Chase will not play in this game. He was suspended by the league for spitting on Jalen Ramsey. He said he didn't spit on him, but it looked like he spit on him. They had a Noah Fant fumbled, so that's not great. And it's now 3 straight losses for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow was a full participant in practice today. I don't know if he's going to play or if they think he's going to play at all. I don't know if this is just him getting into it. I do expect Flacco to play, regardless of who starts, whether it's Flacco or Burrow. I'm going with the Patriots here. The Patriots are just playing too well right now. They're red hot. The defense is great. The offense is great. And I think this is going to be kind of a blowout. I'm going Pats here to get their 9th straight victory. Then we have the New York Giants taking on the Blue Kitties in Detroit. The Giants fell to the Packers on Sunday, but the Giants played a lot better than I thought they would. Jameis Winston came out there and played like the veteran quarterback he is. He was 19 of 29, 201 yards. No touchdown passes, 1 interception, 1 fumble. He was sacked twice and did also have a rushing touchdown. Tracy Jr., 19 attempts, 88 yards on the ground. He also had 51 receiving yards. Singletary, 16 attempts for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hodgins, he had 5 receptions for 57 yards. Burks 2 sacks, continuing to add to his season total. He is just 2 sacks behind Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has 15 on the year. Burns now has 13. 7 of 14 on third down. A lot of those third downs in crucial moments where they're able to pick up good chunks of yards on third and fourth down against that Packers defense. So showing good. It's looking good for the Giants with Jameis Winston at the controls. Unfortunately for them, it is a tough loss, their 5th straight. But the way that this Giants team did perform against the Packers gives me a little bit of hope that if they can get it going, although I believe it's too late this year, but if they can get it going, I think that maybe you stick with Jameis for another year, at least have him as backup behind Jackson Dart. I do not know if Dart will play in this game. I don't know if he's still in concussion protocol. I did not look into that. Yeah, I think that there was good things from the Giants that I think Giants fans could be a little bit happy about. Unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done because, Jordan Love. They'll be taking on the Blue Kitties, who struggled against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. I was watching it with my uncle, and he just did not look great. There was little flashes here and there, but they really struggled against a really tough Philadelphia Eagles defense. Jared Goff, 14 of 37, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 2 sacks, 37.8% completion. Completion percentage was 37.8. That's Goff's worst of his career. Gibbs, 12 attempts on the ground for only 39 yards. Montgomery, 6 attempts, 27 yards on the ground, only 74 rushing yards in total for a Blue Kitty team that is able to normally run all over the field. Gibbs, though, he had 5 receptions for 107 yards. Most of those yards were yards after a catch. Williams, he led the team, or didn't lead the team, but Williams also had 4 receptions, 80 yards, and the 1 lone touchdown for the Blue Kitties. St. Brown, 2 receptions, 42 yards on 12 targets. St. Brown did not look great on Sunday night, and I know it's a little bit of Goff. He was under a lot of pressure, but it did not. St. Brown just did not look good on Sunday night. 3 of 13 on third down for the Blue Kitties. 0 for 5 on fourth. Fourth down is really the bread and butter of this Blue Kitties offense, and just everything they tried just did not look good. And I know that's a big testament to the Philadelphia Eagles defense, which makes me, as a Packer fan, feel a little bit better about the Packers only getting 7 points on the Eagles and losing. But still, the Eagles offense struggling enough to where the Detroit defense played well enough to keep them in the game. So the defense wasn't the problem, it was the offense that was the issue. I do expect the Blue Kitties offense to bounce back this week against the Giants. I'm going to take the Blue Kitties in this one. I do expect their offense to play a lot better. I'm pretty sure they will blow out the Giants because the Packers didn't, so that means that the Lions will. So Blue Kitties get the win. All right, then we have the Colts taking on the Chiefs. The Colts coming off a bye, not much needed bye, but a good rest nonetheless for one of the best teams in the league. So I don't have too many stats for them. Overall, Daniel Jones playing better than anyone would have expected. He has over 2,600 yards on the season now, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. MVP favorite, in my opinion, Jonathan Taylor, 1,100 yards and 15 tutties. And rookie Warren, the tight end, 617 yards, 50 receptions, and 3 touchdowns. This team is first in the league in points per game. And they have all that, and they're going to be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, who are now have back-to-back losses. The Chiefs, tough loss against a division rival, the Broncos. It was a game-winning field goal. 22-19 was the final score. In Denver, Patrick Mahomes, 29 of 45, 276 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Sacked 3 times. He did not look great. He didn't look like Mahomes on Sunday. Kareem Hunt, 13 attempts, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Travis Kelce, he had 9 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown. Thornton also had 1 reception for 61 yards. Their defense had 2 sacks on Bo Nix, no forced turnovers, 5 of 13 on third down, 0 for 1 on fourth, and a total of 10 penalties. This Chiefs team, I gotta say, this Chiefs team does not look like the Chiefs team that we're used to seeing. I think it's the complete opposite. They won a lot of these close games last year. This year, they're not winning them. Do I think that this means that the Chiefs, who now sit at 5-5, are completely out of the playoff race? No, not at all. I still think that they have some of the devil magic that they had going on last year, although I think that a lot of that has transferred to the Bears, but that's just my opinion. I do expect the Chiefs to at least make a run towards the end of the season and try to make the playoffs. They have a tough road ahead of them, and this is going to start with the Colts. I'm taking the Colts here. Colts coming off a bye. They're well rested, going up against a struggling Kansas City team. It is in Arrowhead, which I think gives the Chiefs a slight edge, but I think at the end of the day, the Colts get the win. All right, then we have the Sea Chickens taking on the Titans. The Sea Chickens coming off a close loss to the Rams. Good game in LA. 2 points separate, 21-19. Sam Darnold did not play well. 29-44 of 44, 279 yards. Wasn't sacked at all. No touchdown passes. 4 interceptions. So Sam Darnold, I guess, just sees ghosts when he plays the Rams. That could just be it. From how he struggled last year with the Vikings against the Rams, he just brought it back. He just carried it over. Kenneth Walker, 16 attempts, 67 yards, and a touchdown. JSN, 9 receptions, 105 yards. Cooper Kupp, 3 receptions, 33 yards in his return to LA. They own the time of possession, 37 minutes and 49 seconds. 26 first downs for this offense. 7 of 16 on third down. 1 of 1 on fourth. I think it's a big testament to the Sea Chickens defense. They are able to stay in this game no matter how poorly Darnold was playing. They held that Rams offense, that top Rams offense, to 2 of 11 on third down. So a big testament to the defense being able to keep them in this game all the way up to the last seconds, where they had an opportunity to win the game on a game-winning field goal. Unfortunately, he missed it, so the Rams snuck out of there with a win. The Sea Chickens, good opportunity to bounce back as they take on the 1-9 Titans. Titans coming off a close loss to the Texans. Their 5th straight loss. Cam Ward, 24 of 37, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times, fumbled the ball once. Ward also led the team in rushing yards with 33. I'm going to butcher this name. Okan Kawau, 3 receptions, 56 yards. I apologize. Van Jefferson, 3 receptions, 22 yards, and 1 touchdown. This Titans defense getting 4 sacks. Only 14 first downs, not great. 6 of 15 on third down. A total of 9 penalties. Yeah, they're just not looking good, man. This Titan team now with this loss have clinched their 4th straight losing season for this franchise. So that's not good, and now they've seemed to have lost Calvin Ridley for the season. He broke his fibula on Sunday. So this Titans team, man, like I said, we've seen flashes from Cam Ward. I do think that he is going to be a very good quarterback in this league. It's going to take time. Unfortunately, I don't think he has the O-line to be able to allow him to really show off his potential, full potential. I think this is a good bounce-back win for the Sea Chickens. I expect them to go out there and dominate. I think Sam Darnold will look a lot better. JSN, I do expect him to have over 100 yards again. Kenneth Walker should be playing well. I think this is an easy win for the Sea Chickens. All right, then we have the 6-4 Jags taking on the 3-7 Cardinals. The Jaguars. What's going on with you? You look like crap, and then you look amazing. What's going on in Jacksonville? Big upset win over the Bolts, 35-6. Where is this coming from? And they did that with T-Law, only throwing for 153 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception for him. He had a rushing touchdown. He wasn't sacked at all. 192 rushing yards on the ground, 4 rushing touchdowns in total for the Jaguars. Tutton, 34 yards and a touchdown, or 74 yards and a touchdown. Travis Etienne, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Myers, 5 receptions, 64 yards. Patrick, he had 3 receptions for 20 yards and a tutty. 1 interception for the defense. Got to Justin Herbert 3 times. A couple of those hits to Herbert, pretty brutal. So Justin Herbert, glad they're on a bye because that O-line's really struggling. Herbert's getting destroyed back there. 30 first downs for this Jags offense. Only 1 penalty. Only 1 penalty for the Jags. That's awesome. And they were 5 of 6 in the red zone. I don't understand this Jags team. I really don't. I really don't know if they're good or bad. I'm not understanding this. They're going to be taking on the Cardinals, who are coming off a brutal loss to the Niners on Sunday. Jacoby Brissett, 47 of 57, 47 completions, is now a new NFL record. So congratulations, Jacoby Brissett. Unfortunately, they didn't win this game. 452 yards of passing for Brissett, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He wasn't sacked at all. Knight, 5 attempts for 24 yards on the ground and a touchdown, only 36 rushing yards in total for the Cardinals. Wilson, he had 15 receptions on 18 targets. That's crazy. 185 yards receiving for him. Trey McBride, he had 10 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Dortch, 6 receptions, 66 yards, and a tutty. Higgins had a fumble in this game. 6 of 14 on third down. 17 penalties. I didn't write that wrong. It's not a typo. 17 penalties on this Cardinals team for 130 yards. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. You cannot have 17 penalties as a professional football team. That's insane. That's insane to me. Ugh. I'm going to go with the Jags in this game. Not because I'm overly confident about the Jaguars, but maybe they can continue this. Maybe they can carry on this momentum and play back-to-back good games. I'm not 100% certain on that, and if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put money on it. But I'm going to go with the Jags here. I think it's close. But if Brissett plays like he did against the Niners, maybe it's different. But I'm going to go with the Jags here. I think it's a close game, but Jags get the win. All right, then we have the Browns taking on the Raiders in probably the Tank Bowl. The Browns coming off a close loss to the Ravens. Dylan Gabriel, 7 of 10, 68 yards. He left the game with a concussion. And we got to see Shedeur Sanders for the first time his NFL debut. He didn't look great at all. I mean, it's his first time getting real NFL action, so I'm not expecting him to be, absolutely insane. 4 of 16, 47 yards, 1 interception. He will start this game for his first official NFL start. Judkins in this game, he had 17 attempts for 54 yards. Tillman, 3 receptions, 53 yards. 2 picks off of Lamar Jackson. Garrett, like I said earlier, 4 sacks. He has 15 total on the season. The overall record, 4 sacks in regular season is 22 and a half. But Garrett getting real close. I could see a scenario to where he breaks it this year. That'd be really cool. He's playing out of his freaking mind. Bush on their defense, he had a pick 6. 2 of 14 on third down for the Browns. Not looking great. They don't look great, but that's okay because they're also playing a team that does not look great either. They're going to be taking on the Raiders. The Raiders coming off a blowout loss to the Dallas Cowboys, 33-16. Geno Smith, 27 of 42, 238 yards, passing 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. Geno led the team in rushing yards with 14 rushing yards when he led the team. Woof. Genty, 6 attempts, 7 yards. Not great. Bowers, he had 7 receptions for 72 yards. Tucker, he had a receiving touchdown. 3 of 12 on third down in this 4th straight loss for the Raiders. I don't have too much to say about the Raiders. I was expecting them to be a little bit better with Pete Carroll running the team. But I don't know. I really don't know about this Raiders team. I'm going to go with the Raiders here only because Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Browns. I think it's close. I think it's low scoring. I think Myles Garrett gets to Geno Smith a couple times. Maybe like a 10-7, 10-6 victory for the Raiders. It can go either way, but I'm going to roll with the Raiders to get the win at home. All right. Then let's go quickly to the Green Bay Packers taking on the Purple Incarnation of Satan in Lambeau Field on Sunday. The Green Bay Packers coming off a victory against the New York Giants on Sunday, overcoming a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries, a lot of issues for the Packers. Not all of them were solved over 1 week. Can't expect that. I'm not going to get too deep into the stats with the Packers because I did that in my post-game reaction game. Jordan Love came out. He played excellent. He was the real reason the Packers won. He was 13 of 24, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, took care of the ball. He was sacked twice, no turnovers for Jordan. He left the game for 7 plays early on in the game, leaving the door open for Malik Willis, the best backup in the NFL. He was 2 for 2, 6 yards, 1 touchdown pass to 1 Christian Watson. That was one of 2 touchdown passes, or 1 of 2 touchdown catches for Christian Watson, who had 2 on the day. He had 46 yards in total. Josh Jacobs left this game with a knee injury. He does seem day to day or week to week, he's going to avoid surgery, thank God. Let's look at the practice thing quick here. The injuries are mounting up for the Packers. It does not look great. Jaden Reed, who kind of posted something on Instagram, and everybody thought he was going to return to practice today. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He did not return. Malik Heath did return to practice after he did not even make the trip to New York. Coach's decision. We don't know why. It was not specified, nor do I honestly really care. It's nice to see him back out on the field. Limited today, Matthew Golden, Javon Bullard, Coop, Dobbs, Nixon, Parsons, Zach Tom, LVN, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks. Not practicing today, which is a lot of concerns on here. Kwekwe, Josh Jacobs, Nate Hobbs, Savion, and Carl Brooks. Those guys did not practice today. The injury report for the Green Bay Packers, I have a feeling that by the time Thanksgiving comes around with the Packers and the Lions, that injury report might be like 2 pages long. But that's not good. We'll obviously get injury designations later this week. But it's a little concerning for the Packers. And especially losing Jacobs. Emmanuel Wilson is going to have to step up. I think he can. I do expect Savion, Wicks, and Watson to all go on Sunday. I think the limits are just maybe kind of a formality and just trying to get them at 110%. Quay, I was a little more concerned about. He did say on Sunday or when he spoke to media, that it was just a stinger in his shoulder. So I didn't think it was going to be bad, but unfortunately seeing him not practicing does give me concern. Also, Carl Brooks not practicing, that's also a concern. Let's see here. This Packers secondary played very, very well for the most part on Sunday. The pressure from the defense, from the pass rush, was good for the most part. Parsons, of course, being a standout. I'm going to need, and I hope, Rashawn Gary starts to play a little bit better. He's not playing as well as I expected him to play, especially with Micah Parsons getting a lot of attention from opposing teams' O-line. I expected more from Rashawn. They're going to be taking on a Vikings team coming off their second straight loss. They lost to the Bears on a game-winning field goal. J.J. McCarthy, he was 16 of 32 for 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Jonesy, he had 16 yards on 16 attempts, 70 yards. Jordan Mason, he had 44 yards on the ground and 1 rushing touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 5 receptions, 61 yards. Jefferson seems to be more and more irritated as the weeks go on. So that sucks for him. Just seems like another prime top wide receiver wasting his career with the Vikings. Addison, he had 1 receiving touchdown, only 23 minutes in time of possession for the Vikings. 2 of 11 on third down, but they only had 2 penalties, so that's good. I'm going to go with the Packers here because I think that they played better, and I do expect them to continue to play better, especially against a struggling Vikings team who's having trouble finding themselves on offense. Their defense does concern me a tad, just a little bit. I think it's a close game, but I do expect the Packers to win. I think the only reason they would lose is if J.J. McCarthy goes off and Jefferson scores like 2 or 3 touchdowns. The Vikings have not won 3 straight in Lambeau for quite a while, so let's hope that streak ends on Sunday. So I'm going with the Packers over the Vikings. All right. Then we have the Eagles and the Cowboys, the second matchup between these two teams this season. The Eagles coming off a close victory over the Blue Kitties. The Eagle offense still not looking 100%. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 28, 135 yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked once. He did have one rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 26 attempts for 83 yards. St. Brown, he had 7 receptions for 44 yards. Dotson, 2 receptions, 43 yards. Cooper DeJean did have an interception. I think that was his first regular season interception. They held Detroit, a very, very good Detroit offense, to 3 of 13 on third down and 0 for 5 on fourth down. 5 total batted passes at the line of scrimmage for the Eagles. 4 of 13 for the offense on third down and 0 for 1 on fourth down. They did actually have the tush push called for a false start, which was crazy. That starts to happen more and more often. Expect the tush push to kind of fade out if they're going to start actually reffing it. And they had 9 penalties on the night. The Eagles, they won this first matchup 24-20 at the beginning of the year. Let's see here. I'm going to... This was actually a really tough one for me because of the way the Eagles' offense is played. I think their defense is going to be the reason they win against the Cowboys. The Cowboys, who are coming off a big win on Monday Night Football over the Raiders, although the Raiders kind of suck, so I don't know how much I'm really giving the Cowboys on that. Dak Prescott did look good, though. He was 25 of 37 for 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, sacked only once. Javonte Williams, 22 attempts for 93 yards. Pickens, 9 receptions, 144 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions, 66 yards and a tutty. Florini and Ferguson both having receiving touchdowns. Bell had an interception. They sacked Geno 4 times. This Cowboys offense, like I said, they did look very, very good against a kind of a poor Raiders team. I'm going to give this one to the Eagles only because I trust this Eagles defense against the Cowboys. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Eagles get the win solely because of their defense. All right, then we have the Falcons taking on the Saints. The Falcons coming off a loss to the Panthers in overtime. Michael Penix, 13 of 16, 175 yards. He left the game due to a knee injury. Unfortunately, his season is over. So it's going to be Kirk Cousins the rest of the way for the Falcons. Cousins did come in this game, 6 of 14 for 48 yards. Bijan, 23 attempts for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Algier, he had 3 attempts, 10 yards, and a touchdown. Drake London, 7 receptions, 119 yards, and 4 of 11 on third down in total for this Falcons team. This is their 5th straight loss, so not going well in Atlanta. They're going to be taking on a Saints team who's coming off a bye. Good rest up for the Saints. I don't have too much to say about the Saints. I don't think anybody really does. Last time we saw them, they did have a 17-7 victory over Carolina. Tyler Shugg in that game, 282 yards, passing 2 touchdowns. Kamara, he had 83 yards in the ground. Chris Olave, he had 5 receptions, 104 yards and a touchdown. They sacked Bryce Young twice, and they had 2 turnovers. I'm going to give this one to the Falcons only because they have more explosive players in Bijan and Algier. I think it's a close game. I know division games can get tight, and they can go either way. I'm going to go with the Falcons to get the win. Slight edge for the Falcons. solely because of Bijan and Algier. But I think it's also going to depend on how Kirk Cousins played. He hasn't played that great lately, but if they can get the run game going, they'll win. All right, then we have Sunday Night Football. Should be a good one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the LA Rams. The Buccaneers coming off a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Back-to-back losses for the Bucs. Not too concerned about them just yet. Baker Mayfield, he had 173 yards on 16 passes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He did have a rushing touchdown. He wasn't sacked at all. Tucker, he had 19 attempts, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shepard, 4 receptions for 54 yards. Tucker also had a receiving touchdown. Unfortunately for the Bucs, they just could not stop Josh Allen on Sunday. Their defense just really had no answers for him other than, they did have 2 picks, but it just was not enough. 9 of 16 on third down, 35 minutes of time of possession, and only 2 penalties, so that's good. The second half in that game, they were outscored 23-12. The biggest concern, like I said, is their defense. This defense is going to be taking on a very, very good offense in the LA Rams. Unfortunately, we didn't see much of that offense for the LA Rams, but the Rams did come off that close win over the Sea Chickens on Sunday. Matthew Stafford, 15 of 28, 130 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Over the last 7 games, Matthew Stafford has 22 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That's some MVP shit right there. Let's see here. Williams, 12 attempts, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 7 receptions for 75 yards. Parkinson and Adams both had a touchdown. The defense had 4 interceptions on Sam Darnold. 2 of 11 on third down. That needs to be cleaned up. That's not what I would expect from this offense. And 2 of third on fourth. This was a tough pick for me. It really was. I'm going to go with the Rams because I do expect their offense to play better, especially going up against a defense that just allowed Josh Allen to do whatever he wanted. I think it's a close game, but I think it's a good game, and I'm glad this is a Sunday Night Football game because this should be fun. I'm going to go with the Rams to get the win. I think it's going to be a close race in the NFC South between the Bucs and the Panthers, but I also do think the Panthers are going to lose, so shouldn't be that much of a hit for the Buccaneers. All right, kind of foreshadowing here, but Monday Night Football, we have the Panthers taking on the Niners. The Panthers, like I said already, coming off an OT victory, over the Falcons. Bryce Young, 31 of 45, 448 yards through the air. That is a new franchise record for Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. 3 touchdown passes for him. He was sacked 5 times. Rico Dowdle, 19 attempts on the ground for 45 yards. McMillan, 8 receptions, 130 yards for 2 tutties. Leggett, 4 receptions, 83 yards and a tutty. Fitzgerald had that game-winning field goal in overtime. And they are now only a half game back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC South, just as we all predicted at the beginning of the season. I know they're riding high right now, but they're going to be taking on a Niners team who is coming off a blowout beatdown of the Arizona Cardinals. Brock Purdy returned to the field for the first time, I think, since week 3 or 4. He was 19 of 26, 200 yards, 3 tutties. CMC, he had 13 attempts on the ground for 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had a receiving touchdown. George Kittle. George Kittle, 6 receptions, 67 yards for 2 touchdowns. Their defense forced 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery. 3 of 9 on third down, which is not great, but they were still able to get it done. And only 1 penalty, so very, very disciplined for the 49ers on Sunday. This should be a fun one. I don't think Bryce Young is going to throw for over 400 yards again, although this Niners defense is beat up. I do expect the Niners to get the win solely because of CMC and Kittle. I do expect Purdy to continue to play good. He's had plenty of time to recover, and to see him come out and play pretty much a perfect game. I do expect the Niners to get the win on Monday night. Well, that is all the games for this week. I know I said I wasn't going to ramble. I was going to try to make this short, but clearly I did not. We're at 51 minutes. So I did not make this short at all. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys on Sunday for the post game of the Packers and Vikings. Hopefully it's a win for the Packers. But we'll see. It's going to be a tough stretch for the Packers. They now have to play all 3 NFC North opponents in a row. And then the Broncos right after that. So it's going to be a tough road for the Packers. But, like I said, thanks for watching. I appreciate anybody who stuck to the end of the video. I know that it's rough too, especially when I ramble, especially like I am right now. But thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.